So here's an intro to a walking bass line. Be using two chords today, G minor and C. And we're each chord is gonna be for one measure, and we're gonna be walking quarter notes, so only 4 beats per measure, and only on each of those beats. All right, there are 3 techniques that we can use. 1 is gonna be triad or arpeggio based, 2 is gonna be scalar based, 3 is gonna be chromatics based. So basically I'm saying any note you can walk a bass line with. Luckily there are some guidelines to help you go about it. So the first beat I'm going to be talking about is actually going to be the last beat. The last beat is supposed to get us to the next chord. So G minor to C, and then C to G minor. So if I take a look at G minor to C, we have 2 different approaches. We could take a half step above or a half step below, or the next scale note above or the next scale note below. So let's take a look at G minor to C. And let's just do that on beat 4. 1, 2, 3. A half step above C, C, 2, 3. A half step below G. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Now, like I said, we can use scale notes too. I like alternating. If on one chord I am a half step above, I like on the next chord to be a half step below. I just think that sounds pretty neat. Next is what we do on beats 2 and 3. Now we can use either triad or scale based here, and each kind of lends itself to whether we're going to be a half step below or a half step above the next chord. For example, if I just take the scale, G minor, my goal note is C, right? That's what I'm going towards. And look at, I'm only a half step away from C. So on beat 4, I'm going to be a half step below C in order to get us to C. Scale. There we go. Now if we use a triad or the arpeggio, G, B flat, 6th fret. Now we're up here at the 5th fret on the 5th string, or the D note on the A string. We're already above C, so we need to work our way down to C, and guess what's in between D and C? 1 half step between them, so we're going to be a half step or a chromatic note above the chord that we're aiming for. Or gives us 2 different options on what we can do there. Now we have to work our way from C to G minor. Now we already know what's going to be on beat 4. A scale note or a chromatic note above or below our G. Now what we do on beats 2 and 3 is going to be very similar. It's either going to be a scale based or it's going to be a triad based. So for example, if I'm on C and I want to work our scale up to G now, I'm just going to be running up the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm on an F note on the 5th string now, and I'm a whole step below the G. So that's a scale note below the G right there. So here we go with it ascending the entire time. G minor. So that was with our scale going from C to G. Now we can also use our triad going from C to G. If we think about it, here's our C, triad. The next kind of triad note would be E on the 4th string, 2nd fret. Then we can start working our way up. Scale, chromatic, back there to G. Now since this is E, and so is my 6th string, I can do the same thing going lower. C, E, the 3rd of our C chord, triad based, scale, chromatic, G. Now to add those little chords in between, what I'm doing is I'm just making a bar chord, and I'm picking my chord with my fingers on the and of beat 1. 1, C. 1 and.